Vanakkam and a very warm welcome to IDFC FIRST Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12. I'm Ritwika Gupta here in the beautiful city of Chennai. Tonight we are bringing you highlights from our Chennai Springboard, and this is part 1 of the episode. On the show tonight we have a keynote presentation on Chennai's business ecosystem by Anto Alan, Business Head, Business Banking and Agri, IDFC FIRST Bank. In the second segment, a very interesting chat lined up with Dr. Srimathy Kesan, founder and CEO Space Kidz India. Dynamic, innovative and resilient. Chennai, often called the Detroit of India, embodies these qualities as it drives India's industrial revolution, emerging as a powerhouse in South India.
The food street is like good here, and the kind of food available, veg and non-veg, both are well good and well prepared. So I like the food street market here the most. The industries and the kind of IT sectors which are being growing here and emerging here is like kind of good for the people who are living here.
The city is so clean, I guess. So I live in Delhi, so if I compare Delhi to Chennai, so I find it more better in cleanness, I can say. See, when I come here, I tasted the food here and that was so awesome, no doubt.
The city's industrial growth is fueled by a skilled workforce and a number of innovative government initiatives which have nurtured a vibrant ecosystem for MSMEs. With a bold vision to set a global blueprint for industrial excellence, the city is making strides in manufacturing, especially in AI, aerospace, banking and finance. Today, all eyes are on Chennai as it paves the way for leadership in the global industrial landscape.
It's such a pleasure to welcome all of you and meet you in this ET Leaders of Tomorrow event. Given today's theme, let's start with first identifying what underscores TN's important in the country's GDP. TN at $250 billion contributes to about 8.8% of the country's GDP, and the second largest state in terms of GDP output. 1/3 of the GDP gets contributed from manufacturing, half of it comes from services. So that's the kind of importance which the state has got in the country. And in the last year, we had attracted about 2.44 billion crores of FDI, which is about a 12.5% increase over the previous year, which is a very consistent increase in FDI. We are the only state in the country where all the districts are part of the industrial economic policy. That's the kind of inclusive development we have been able to get in the state. And of late, we have become a powerhouse for GCC. There's a lot of investments, there's a lot of activity which has happened in GCCs, and there's a lot of action which has happened there. Chennai is called the Detroit of Asia, with the who's who of the manufacturing auto components, the MNCs based out of here, therefore the ancillary units there. We are also very strong emerging in terms of the electronic component manufacturing. Obviously, all this, along with e-commerce, has doubled the warehousing requirement in the state. If you look at some of the key things which helps us, is also the port connectivity. We talked about being on the Coromandel coast. We have access to 2 major ports. To introduce us, who are we in this space and what are we trying to do in this space? Just a quick introduction to what IDFC FIRST Bank is. IDFC Bank started its operations in 2016, that's when we got a commercial license. In 2018, we merged with Capital First, and Capital First was an NBFC focused largely into the retail SME space, and IDFC was largely focused on the infrastructure development space. And that's in 2018, we had this merger. And since the merger, at the time of merger, we were largely a corporate banking entity. So somebody said large industrial houses. That's typically what we used to do about 8 years, at that point in time. So one of the guiding philosophy that we always have is in terms of ethical, social, and technology-driven banking. So when you say ethical, social, and technology-driven banking, what typically we mean is that we build this into the core way that the product suite is built. For example, when you launch credit cards, Credit cards in this country for long has been if you look at the rollover rates of credit cards, your interest rates used to be at standard of anywhere between 36 to 40%. We were the first ones to break it and then say, look, if the customer's credit history has been good, let's link it to CIBIL. If the credit history is good, then we should bring the annual performance rates down. So we start at about 9 to 10%, which was unheard of in the industry. We also have, for example, in a current account, we talked about the Bravo account, where anything above a 2 lakh threshold starts becoming interest-bearing because it starts forming FDs. So we have two kinds of startups. We have two kind of solutions to the startup space. One, catering to the early stage startup. Second, in the growth stage startup. So the early stage startup, you've just started a company, you're looking into taking your product market fit, and that's the space that you're in, right? So there what we do is that one, of course, is the Bravo account that I spoke about. And we also have a step-up credit card program, which says that for all your business supplies that you do, you start with a credit card with an FD margin of about 50%, and then increasingly start reducing that margin. So that's the program that we have on step-up credit card. One of the key things that has worked very well for us is a founder success program. We run a platform networking all founders with the VCs as well. We work with a lot of VCs in this country. We invite the people who are successful, who have taken their successful journey in terms of raising capital, taking their company, establishing a brand, to come and mentor people who are starting off. And as the startup keeps growing, then we go to the growth stage. And when the startup has found a product fit to the market, and that's when we step in and say, look, now there's a working capital requirement. And there's a slew of working capital solutions. And I've been in the MSME lending space for the last more than 2 decades now. And I've seen how the entire landscape of lending has transformed over the last 2 decades. But at the growth stage, we realized that, look, there is a working capital need now which has come in because the product needs to hit the market, and a product market fit is already found. And that is when we when we start with the working capital finance. The other thing that we also realize, see, it's not just about financing, because what we have realized that when we speak in the SME space, and especially a lot of it in the D2C space, and also in the fintech space, is that a lot of products needs to get tested in a live environment for companies as well. And therefore, we have something called as the API banking. So we built a lot of built-in APIs for a lot of MSMEs to come and test out their products in a sandbox environment, so that you will know what is working and what is not working, and therefore your time to market and the time to showcase a product becomes that much more faster. We are one of the largest in this space in terms of building APIs. Like I said, just to put it together, a current account which takes your excess liquidity and parks it into FDs. Anything about 2 lakhs gets into an FD and starts earning interest on it. And there is no, and whenever a check comes in, it automatically gets it back, which means that there's no penalty on the premature closure of the FDs as well. So which means that literally in one sense that you start earning interest on a current account. That to doorstep banking services, to CMS services, we have an absolutely great digital platform which does multiple things like your bulk payment facilities, your CMS facilities, your digital, your rate booking. For example, if you're an exporter, importer, you can do a rate booking online. You can do your documents transaction online, which typically in some time back used to be somebody has to call, pick up rates or confirm rates, and somebody has to be sending documents to the branch, and then either you have to collect your bills back. So all that is now completely automated. And of course, the full suite of working capital solution. There's one solution that I wanted to spend a little bit more time on, because especially when we're talking about taking MSMEs on the global stage. Now, what do you do what does it typically mean when you go on the global stage? Either in the global stage, either you're setting up a subsidiary abroad, or you're doing the reverse. You're bringing your subsidiary, which is being set up abroad, back into the country, right? These are the two things which you'll do when you're going on the global stage. Now, you can have investments coming in. You can have, today we have investors which are outside the country making investments into you, or you want to set up a subsidiary unit in a particular country because you find certain things which is useful for you, and you think that you want to be close to a particular customer base by setting up a unit there. All this involves cross-border transactions. We have set up an exclusive capital market desk for this. We call it the capital market FEMA desk for this, which guides you to the entire FEMA regulations. There's a whole series of regulations that you see. For example, if you have raised money, for instance, from an overseas investor, the last thing that you want to get stuck in is in regulations as to whether you're compliant for a FEMA regulations, whether you're getting an approval or not. After signing the term sheet, just when the check is going to cut, if you're going to struggle on regulations, then your deal is going to go off. right? So we understand this, and therefore we have set up a dedicated desk. And today we see a lot of requests for this because we are really seeing MSMEs actually going on the global stage. So when they're setting up their subsidiaries or when money is coming in, this is one solution that is tailor-made for it, which will help you navigate. See, there is a set of guidelines. There are certain things which in the automatic route. There are certain things for which you need approvals. It's a set of guidelines. If it is navigated well, then your approvals are done. Then you don't have to worry about any liabilities on that part. So that's one critical solution that you've done, which I think for any MSME that has got global aspirations, is something that will be very useful. So that's it from my side, and thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been always a pleasure to meet this audience. Thank you so much.
It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back to IDFC FIRST Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12, and tonight we are bringing you highlights from our recently concluded Chennai Springboard Part 1. As part of our Women Mean Business segment, I'll be chatting with Dr. Srimathy Kesan. She's the founder of Space Kidz India, and we're going to be having a dynamic conversation on the aerospace sector, space exploration and much more. Listen in. Dr. Srimathy, I want to ask you, how did your journey start, in the space technology sector? What inspired you to get into this industry? And of course, how did you end up founding Space Kidz India?
18 years, I was married when I was 18. And before which I was an all-rounder. I played 10 basketball nationals. I was a state athlete. I was a paratrooper. I was an all-India silver medalist firing. I was a parade commander to lead the NCC Directorate at Delhi Republic Day.
Wow.
And today what I'm doing, I think is something different because I'm working for the future generation. So, soldiers, there are a lot of soldiers. So I am one soldier who's working with little technology to build an yellow brigade of little scientists for the country. I always feel that space industry is one thing where there is a lot of divinity in it. Not everybody can work in that. So continuously taking children and, seeking getting the ambassador status and all that was initially thrilled for a homemaker. I was so excited because, after 18 years, you've been given a certification like this. But, I felt that this is not it. So I said, maybe we need to do a reverse engineering. So build a miniature version of NASA here in India so that everybody can be inspired, everybody can go visit there. Meanwhile, I said, okay, we are doing this. What is the next step for the children when they go to NASA, ESA, come back? It's not a study tour. I don't like to name it because even when we go there, I make it a point that these children visit universities there, have a hands-on workshop. They are given a pilot training, which, generally costs about 90 lakhs to 1 crore. So these children actually sit in the cockpit to, not only simulate, but actually fly the, flight.
Fantastic. This has been so inspiring to just hear. You've broken so many stereotypes. But, for our viewers who are perhaps not very familiar with what you're doing, at Space Kidz India, just give us an understanding of, what the curriculum is like. Who are the children who can join your program? What's the criteria? What does a day look like, at Space Kidz India?
Now, after the startup culture and everything, there is a division between edutech, tech-based company and all that. But way back when I started, it was like, we need to build satellites. So how do we build satellites? Pick these students, work together, brainstorm with a couple of scientists.
How old are these students?
These were only 14 and 15 when I handpicked them. And from then on, we interacted, we worked, no lab, sitting at home, doing intense research, interaction. Of course, because of technology, we were able to interact with the professors across the globe and get a lot of validations and everything. So the Space Kidz is not, just because you have the kids, It is not an educational company. It is, we build satellites. I think I should show you. We have a
Yes,
satellite
absolutely.
here in the room.
Yes, absolutely. We'll just get it.
I think we have to have the satellite.
Sure, absolutely.
The satellite.
Oh,
This is the world's lightest and first ever 3D printed Gulab Jamun sat, or the Kalam
Fantastic.
sat, 64 grams. And this was a path breaker. When we started initially, people did not understand that satellites can be built with high school students.
we'll definitely talk about the space industry in detail in a bit, but I want to, I'm so, I love your passion, the way you're talking about technology and how you're making technology seem so, amazing for children, for people who do not understand any of these, right? But I want to ask you, how do you see your role, as an entrepreneur, an educator, or a scientist? How do you view yourself currently?
People most precisely, or they love calling me Amma. Everywhere I go, I don't know, be it Africa, be it anywhere, I don't know what is the connect. They call me Space Amma. So I don't know who I am. My only vision is, get these children, change the statistics, change the numbers. I want more girls to get into STEM industry. So be it whatsoever, I want to give them more hands-on training and everything. So that's the reason, embarked on a new journey. Knowledge is so much available in India. We are the knowledge hub. And, so all these things which are taught to you, right from as a child, has pushed me to one more step into bringing 108 countries together to build a satellite with 108 girls, and that will be called Mission Shakti Sat. So
Fantastic.
the power for a girl child, and if girls are given that power, there will be more peace prevailing in the world rather than, bombs flying everywhere.
I absolutely agree. Now, I want to talk about the space industry, the space sector. What needs to be done to raise awareness, not just among the public, but, like you mentioned, among venture capitalists, the business ecosystem, or the kind of work you're doing, the kind of work ISRO is doing. Because, when there is some big news, say we have launched something to Mars, and all those news come up, but then we're not really following what's happening in the space industry. So talk to us a little bit about this sector and of course the opportunities that you see.
This is a brilliant question that you've asked. You know what? Because seldom people who are interested in this particular space, this particular industry, go through the news. So their children or their schools or universities have the awareness. But the others, they are not aware of this, first thing. After Chandrayaan 3, I think there is a great awareness in the country. Chandrayaan 3 actually brought in the entire nation. So first step for the country like India is awareness. I thought it is only India. No, I was wrong. I started, talking to so many countries for Mission Shakti Sat, and I got to understand they do not have even a STEM lab. And girls are not allowed there. So many countries have that. I have done 27 missions, Space Kidz India has done 27 missions. But you ask me in this crowd also, if 2 people know about us, it's a very big thing. It's a very big honor, seriously. So this needs to be taken to the grassroots level. How do you take it to the grassroots level? Please speak about it more. It's not only on special occasions like Chandrayaan or anything that, this industry gets a front page. You have to keep talking about it, and only then.
Fantastic. This is also part of our Women Mean Business segment, and I have to ask you a similar question which I asked Ms. Divya as well earlier. What's your take on the landscape for women entrepreneurs, not just in Tamil Nadu or Chennai, but also in India in general? And you spoke a lot about, having the need for having, more girls, step into the fields of STEM, take up engineering, and in the technological fields. So what is your take on the overall ecosystem currently?
Well, there again, I would say that in tech, deep tech businesses, either you are involved as a co-founder with your husband, brother, father, someone, because they feel that only if that is there, the industry is safe. Either you need to have a sound technology background. Forget Tatas. Tatas can do anything. Tata one man can do nano, he can do soaps, he can do everything. But if a woman wants to do, she needs to be technologically extremely strong. So how can one person be technologically strong, very good with finances, very good with people? It is a challenge. Somewhere you need that break. So more women getting into this with confidence will break this myth.
Wise words, absolutely. And finally, as we are wrapping up this very insightful conversation, which I really, really wish I could go on and on, but we're out of time. My final question to you is really in your outlook, in terms of how do you see the future of space exploration flourishing in India?
I think we are at the right time now because, of course, startup funding, is not that very, very lucrative here in India. So that's the reason people bring in money from outside. So there are a lot of accelerator programs. This is very, very important that I think our government, our ministries, everybody need to take a look at is one thing where the accelerator programs are very well curated outside India. So what is happening is the youth of India need money. Without, collaterals and everything, I told you space is finance intense. So without 10 crores, 15 crores, you cannot have a satellite, space made at all.
Fantastic. This was such a wonderful chat. I really would like to have extended this, and maybe I will revisit it, in some years and perhaps in some months as well, talking about what the progress has been in the space sector, because a lot of smaller businesses are also in this industry. So it's very relevant. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Srimathy. This was a fantastic conversation. Thank you for being here. We'll take a quick picture.
Sure. Thank you, Ritwika.
Thank you so much. On that note, it's a wrap on this edition of IDFC FIRST Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.